Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our lead story of the day is a banger because we're going to be unraveling the story of the Biden family corruption in connection to these bribery allegations made against Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. I'm going to take you all the way back to 2014 when Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma Holdings, a natural gas company, to present day with this 1023 form that exposes these bribery allegations against Joe Biden. I'm going to give you everything you need to know about before we jump into any of the details. Support a true American patriot by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. The question of the day is, do you think the FBI is covering for the Biden family? Let us know in the comment section below. Well, today's episode, I figured I'd go over what the hell is going on with this Biden family and these corruption allegations being made against Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. And if you kind of look on all these podcasts, everybody's giving you like breadcrumbs or like puzzle pieces to connect for yourself. Nobody's really going over what's this whole story going back to 2014 to present day. Like, what is going on? I didn't even know myself, so I had to look into all this going, well, what's going on? Why is one person talking about this 1023 form? Why is somebody else talking about Hunter Biden, the laptop? Like, what is really going on here? So what I figured was, hey, I wonder if my audience actually knows the entire story too. So I figured I'll package it together and present it to all of you and hopefully simplify it in a way that makes sense and we can all figure out what the hell is going on. So to do this, we got to go all the way back to really 2010 and 2014 time period. And what was taking place here was you had Barack Obama in office, you had Joe Biden as vice president. And during that time, Ukraine was kind of already falling apart. There's a lot of corruption taking place. And within Ukraine, you had this natural gas company called Burisma Holdings. And somehow Hunter Biden got on the board, which brings us to 2014. So in 2014, Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma Holdings, a Ukrainian natural gas company, while his father was the vice president of the United States. Well, as you can imagine, this raised concerns about potential conflicts of interest and allegations of impropriety. Now, the primary focus of the investigations was to determine whether Hunter Biden's position on the board of Burisma influenced any U.S. policies and decisions made by his father, Joe Biden, during his time as vice president. Additionally, there were questions about Hunter Biden's qualifications and whether he was hired for connections rather than his expertise in the energy sector. And so to look under the hood on all this, they put in place Viktor Shokin, the former prosecutor general of Ukraine, and was reportedly investigating various cases of corruption during his time. Again, it wasn't just Burisma Holdings that he was looking into. One of the cases that received significant attention was his investigation into the Ukrainian natural gas company Burisma Holdings, where again, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was serving on the board. Well, Shokin's investigation into Burisma focused specifically on allegations of corruption and money laundering. That sounds a lot like what we've been hearing current day with Joe Biden receiving money, Joe Biden paying out money, doing all sorts of things, and just kind of money moving all over the place. The specific details, though, and progress of the investigation are not extensively documented, which is why you kind of got to look under the hood a little bit and why there needed to be an investigation on all this by the FBI. And there are different accounts regarding the extent of Shokin's efforts in pursuing these corruption cases. Well, again, President Joe Biden today was allegedly paid $5 million by an executive of the Ukrainian national gas firm Burisma Holdings, where Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, sat on the board. And this comes from a confidential human source who told the FBI during a June 2020 interview. Now, that's regarding the 1023. I don't want to just jump in there just yet. But what this is all taking place around is this company, Burisma Holdings, where Joe Biden was known to be kind of the big guy on a lot of these references. So you got 2010 to 2014, corruption taking place in Ukraine. You have this company, this natural gas company, Burisma Holdings, that Hunter Biden was on the board of. And everyone's like, well, why did you get on the board? What are your qualifications? And how does this affect U.S. policy? Well, 2 years after leaving office, Joe Biden couldn't resist the temptation last year to brag to an audience of foreign policy specialists about the time as vice president that he strong-armed Ukraine into firing the top prosecutor, Shokin. And this was the one where he had a quid pro quo on film, which we still have, about this whole thing. Let's roll it.
Kyiv in terms of corruption. They made, I mean, I'll give you one concrete example. I was, not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. So I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not.
There you go. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the $1 billion. So they fired the prosecutor, Shokin, that was looking under the hood of Burisma Holdings, where Hunter Biden, which was being investigated by Shokin, was all taking place. So no wonder Joe Biden wanted to get rid of him, because Joe Biden was about to get in trouble for all this. This definitely plays in the current day. We will get there, folks. I got a lot of information to give you and connect the dots for you to make this very simplified. So in other words, there was the video that you just saw take place where Joe Biden did a quid pro quo. But Ukrainian officials were said that there was one crucial piece of information that Biden must have known but didn't mention to his audience in that clip. The prosecutor that he got fired was leading a wide range of corruption probes into the natural gas company firm Burisma Holdings. He never mentioned Burisma Holdings in that tape in that quid pro quo that employed Biden's younger son, Hunter Biden. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm doing that on purpose because it helps connect the dots. U.S. bank records show Hunter Biden's American-based firm, Rosemont Seneca Partners LLC, received regular transfers into one of its accounts, usually more than $166,000 a month, from Burisma from 2014 through fall of 2015, during a period when Vice President Biden was the main U.S. official dealing with Ukraine and its tense relations with Russia. The General Prosecutor's Office filed for the Burisma probe, shared with the senior Ukrainian officials, and shows prosecutors identified Hunter Biden and business partner Devin Archer and their firm, Rosemont Seneca, as potential recipients of the money. So you got Hunter Biden and the business partner all receiving this money from Burisma Holdings, of which, why the hell is he on the board anyways? He doesn't have any qualifications, which was looked at by Shokin. Shokin told in a written answer that, regarding the question, that before he was fired as general prosecutor, he was making specific plans for the investigation that, quote, included interrogations and other crime investigation procedures into all members of the executive board, including Hunter Biden, before he was fired. Well, who wanted him fired? Joe Biden did. On tape. We all had seen that tape before. He added, I would like to emphasize the fact that presumption of innocence is a principle in Ukraine and that he couldn't describe evidence further. You also have this guy named William Russo, who's a spokesman for Joe Biden, and Hunter Biden did not respond to email messages seeking comment. The phone number of Rosemont Seneca Partners LLC in Washington was no longer in service. Oh, well, that's convenient. God, what are they trying to get rid of there? What are they trying to cover up is the question. The timing of Hunter Biden and Archer's appointment, again, the business partner, Archer, to Burisma's board has been highlighted in the past by the New York Times in December of 2015, by the way, and in a 2016 book by conservative author Peter Schweizer. Although Biden made no mention of his son in his 2018 speech, which we just saw, U.S. and Ukrainian authorities both told Biden, or told this person that I'm getting this information from, told this person that Biden in his office clearly had to know about the general prosecutor's probe of Burisma and his son's role. They noted that, one, Hunter Biden's appointment to the board was widely reported in American media. Two, the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv that coordinated Biden's work in the country repeatedly and publicly discussed the general prosecutor's case against Burisma. Three, Great Britain took very public action against Burisma while Joe Biden was working with the government on Ukrainian issues. And 4, Biden's office was quoted on the record acknowledging Hunter Biden's role in Burisma in a New York Times article about the general prosecutor's Burisma case that appeared 4 months before Biden forced the firing of Shokin. Biden forced the firing of Shokin, the guy that was looking under the hood, once again. The vice president's office suggested that the article that Hunter Biden was a lawyer free to pursue his own private business deals. Now, President Obama named Biden the administration's point man on Ukraine in February of 2014. After a popular revolution ousted Russia-friendly president Viktor Yanukovych, or whatever the hell the guy's name is, and as Moscow sent military forces into Ukraine's Crimea territory. According to this conservative book, Schweitzer's book, Vice President Biden met with Archer. Again, Archer was the businessman for Hunter Biden. In April 2014, right as Archer was named on the board of Burisma as well. A month later, Hunter Biden was named on the board to oversee Burisma's legal team. So you have Archer, business partner of Hunter Biden himself, both were on the board. So you have Archer getting put on the board. Then you have Vice President Biden meeting with Archer. And then all of a sudden, a month later, Hunter Biden's just on the board willy-nilly, doesn't know jack crap about natural gas. That's a little weird. But the Ukrainian investigation and Joe Biden's efforts to fire the prosecutor overseeing it escaped without much public debate. Nobody looked under the hood. But who knew about this the entire time? Who knew about it? The FBI knew about it. The entire time they knew about it. We'll get there in just one moment. That brings us to present day, because nobody looked under the hood for like 8 years on this, you guys. It just went dark, and conservatives have been screaming to the sky, what the hell's going on? Why is nobody looking under the hood? We were told this whole thing that I just read to you was Russian disinformation. No joke. That was the story for like 8 years. And then you get Hunter Biden's laptop that talks and shows information about Joe Biden being the businessman receiving money and all these other things taking place. We were also told by the FBI, and these people that worked with the FBI at the time that are now being employed by CNN, by the way, we're told that this was Russian information, Russian disinformation. That was the narrative for years, you guys, years. So what happened was Senator Chuck Grassley gets this 1023 form. This 1023 form, we were told, didn't exist by the FBI. We'll get to that in one moment. We got a lot of stuff for you today, folks. We were told this 1023 form by the FBI did not exist. It wasn't real. It was make-believe. Then all of a sudden, Chuck Grassley gets his hands on this form. And you have the FBI going, I think it was Christopher Wray going, oh no, it doesn't exist. No, it's not real. And Chuck goes, I read the damn thing. Don't tell me it's not real. I freaking saw, I have it right here. And then the FBI goes, oh yeah, okay, well, shoot. So they get caught. And this brings us to Senator Chuck Grassley on the floor, I believe, of the Senate.
Last week, I came here to speak to my colleagues about the Biden administration and the FBI playing games with the American people by hiding the FBI-generated 1023 document from Congress and the American people. Director Wray was going to be held in contempt for refusing to produce the 1023 that I told Chairman Comer about, and I think I had that first conversation with Chairman Comer about 3 weeks ago. Then, instead of contempt, the FBI committed to showing the 1023 and related documents to the whole Congress. By the way, I thank Chairman Comer for his cooperation with me and how he's pursued this issue, because we know a heck of a lot more now than if he hadn't been involved in this whole effort. So the FBI showed, after the FBI committed to showing this document, they showed, but it didn't provide possession of the 1023 to the House Oversight Committee last week. And by the way, 1023 is unclassified. So why shouldn't the entire country know about what's in this 1023?
Exactly, Chuck.
As the public knows, that 1023 involves an alleged bribery scheme between then Vice President Biden, Hunter Biden, and a foreign national.
Okay, so we got that much, right? So we started in 2010. I brought you to 2014 when Hunter Biden was put on the board along with his business partner, Archer. They were doing some funky stuff with money laundering and all that stuff in Ukraine that was already corrupted. So Ukraine puts in front Shokin that looks under the hood of Burisma Holdings and Hunter Biden, Archer, and Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't like that. And so that's why he wanted him to get fired, because he didn't want him looking under the hood because all this stuff was taking place. That's very important because it 100% connects to Joe Biden's recordings that we're going to listen to in just a little bit. So that, again, for like years, it was just Russian disinformation. None of this stuff was real. None of this stuff whatsoever. Which brings us to this 1023 form, which I'm going to break down for you. So the Burisma executive sought the advice, or rather, let's back up just a little bit. Let's go back. President Joe Biden was allegedly paid $5 million by an executive of Burisma Holdings, of which his son, Hunter Biden, was on the board, and Hunter Biden's business partner was on the board as well. So this was exposed by a confidential human source who told the FBI during a 2020 interview. So the FBI has known about this for years, folks. Years. The sources briefed Fox News Digital on the contents of this 1023 form, alleging a criminal bribery scheme between then Vice President Joe Biden and the foreign national that involved influence over U.S. policy decisions. Key point, because if you go back again to 2014, when Shokin was looking under the hood on Burisma Holdings, where Hunter Biden was on the board, as was Archer, one of the things he was looking into was there any sort of connection, or what was the specific word that was used? It was not just connection, potential conflicts into Joe Biden and Hunter Biden with all this stuff, as well as any sort of influence on U.S. policy decisions. Again, that was the main focus. The 1023 form that was dated on June 30th, 2020, so like 3 years ago, is the FBI's interview with a highly credible confidential source who detailed multiple meetings and conversations that they had with a top Burisma executive over the course of several years. Gee, starting in 2015. How convenient, because the money laundering and the receiving a payment from Burisma Holdings into the accounts of Hunter Biden and his business partner went to the fall of 2015. Oh, that's interesting, all around the same time, huh? Fox News Digital has not seen the form itself, but it was described by several sources who are aware of its contents. Now, some of these sources actually came, I think, from Congress, because Congress got to look at it in a scuff, and they kind of took notes once they left it. The 1023 form is used by FBI agents to record unverified reporting from confidential human sources. The form is used to document information as told to an FBI agent, but recording that information does not validate or weigh it against other information known by the FBI. The Burisma executive sought the advice of the confidential source, a business professional, on gaining U.S. oil rights and getting involved with a U.S. oil company, the source familiar with the document said. The Burisma executive was speaking with the confidential source to get advice on the best way to go forward in 2015 and 2016. According to the form, the confidential human source said the Burisma executive discussed Hunter's role on the board. The human source questioned why the Burisma executive needed his or her advice in acquiring access to U.S. oil if he had Hunter Biden on the board. Well, the executive answered by referring to Hunter Biden as dumb. The Burisma executive explained to the confidential source that Burisma had to pay the Bidens because Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin was investigating Burisma. Well, what would they have to pay Biden for? There's no connection. There's nothing. Who cares? There's no corruption taking place. Oh, it's just that the guy's looking under the hood for corruption. That's all. And explain how difficult it would be to enter U.S. market in the midst of that investigation. The confidential source further detailed that conversation, suggesting to the Burisma executive that he paid the Bidens $5 million each. $5 million to one Biden, $5 million to the other Biden. God, that sounds a lot like the big guy getting a little bit of a cut from the Biden laptop about this whole Burisma natural gas company whole shebang, and the laundering of money. A familiar source said, according to the document, the $5 million payments appeared to reference a kind of quote-unquote retainer Burisma intended to pay the Bidens to deal with a number of issues, including the investigation led by Shokin. Another source referred to arranging a pay-to-play scheme, which sounds a lot like what Shokin was looking for when, he was investigating Burisma Holdings back in 2014 and 15, when all this stuff was said to be happening. Interesting. Interesting that this 1023 form that we were told was Russian disinformation didn't exist, but it did exist. God, what does that sound a hell of a lot like? Oh, I don't know. The Hunter Biden laptop, which we were told didn't exist. That was Russian disinformation, misinformation. Our own government said that. Turns out all this stuff's real. The confidential source said that the Burisma executive told him he paid the Bidens in such a manner through so many different bank accounts, the investigators would not be able to unravel this for at least 10 years. The document then makes reference to the big guy, which he has said to reference Joe Biden. The Burisma executive told the confidential source that he didn't pay the big guy directly. Why would you? It'd be too easy to get caught and fined. It's money laundering, folks. You move it all over the place. Again, who was looking into money laundering on the Biden family corruption? Shokin, the prosecutor in Ukraine that was fired by who? Joe Biden pushing for his firing because he didn't want him looking under the hood. So he said, look, we're not going to give you the $1 billion loan if you let this guy that didn't do anything. We'll get to the tapes in just one moment. We have Joe Biden on tape saying all this. Hey, he's done nothing wrong. Fire the guy anyways. You're not getting the $1 billion. The quid pro quo that nobody wanted to go after him for. But you have freaking Trump, that was a knucklehead for doing what he's doing, but he had some classified documents, which Joe Biden did too and shouldn't have had them in the first place, not get investigated. But you're going to go after Donald Trump on federal charges? Really? You see why I'm frustrated with all this crap? All this information we've had literally for years, almost a decade now, if not a decade. And nothing's been done, and we were lied to about it. We have more information here than we do on freaking Trump's classified documents and what actually was in those documents, and if Trump actually revealed them to anybody, which we don't know. It's so crazy. It's so nuts. Sources said the Burisma executive appears to be a very, very high level of the company. One source familiar suggested the confidential source could be referring to the head of Burisma. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty credible source if it is. They wouldn't name him, but they have a guess of who it is. Biden has acknowledged that when he was vice president, he successfully pressured Ukraine to fire prosecutor Shokin, Victor Shokin. At the time, Shokin was investigating Burisma Holdings. At the time, Hunter had a widely lucrative role on the board receiving. I know I'm repeating myself, but again, it's important to kind of repeat yourself to help make connection to what the hell's going on to all this. Lucrative role on the board receiving thousands of dollars per month, and then vice president threatened to withhold $1 billion of critical U.S. aid to Shokin if he was not fired, which we saw on tape. So Biden's allies maintained the then vice president pushed for Shokin's firing due to concerns the Ukrainian prosecutor went easy on corruption and say that his firing at the time was the policy position of the U.S. and international community. Oh, well, look at that language, huh? Look at all that. In 2019, then President Donald Trump pressed Ukrainian President Zelensky to launch investigations into the Biden family's actions and business dealings into Ukraine. It's important because the timeline here gets a little bit wonky. So the recordings that we have, and we're about to jump into them right now, the recordings that we have is kind of a cross between when Joe Biden was vice president and wanting Shokin to be fired because Shokin was looking at his son and the business dealings that were taking place, and Joe Biden didn't want to get caught himself. But then you had a transfer of power. You had Donald Trump coming into office, and Vice President Joe Biden was freaking out. And so Vice President Biden was basically telling the Ukrainians, don't do anything, because if you do anything with the United States, that's going to cause Donald Trump to look under the hood, and then the investigation's back on and all this stuff's going to take place and they're going to get caught. So you got to hold on to that because that is highly, highly important with these recordings that we have here. So here's this first recording. And this recording is between Joe Biden and ex-Ukraine President Poroshenko. Let's go ahead and roll it. So newly leaked audio reveals private phone conversations between former President Joe Biden and former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, discussing U.S. loans to the country in exchange for the removal of Ukraine Prosecutor General. It's going to be Victor Short.
Assuming that there is a new government and a new Prosecutor General, I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion.
But Poroshenko can be heard defending the Prosecutor General before saying he asked for his resignation.
Despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, We don't have any information about he doing something wrong. I especially asked him, no, it was the day before yesterday. I especially asked him to resign.
We're going to continue. Folks, that is insane. You literally have the ex-president saying, hey, we're just going to fire the guy. There was no corruption with Shokin. He didn't do anything wrong, but we're going to fire him anyways. That's wild. So it says here the edited clips were released by Andriy Durkach, whatever. No, you guys could probably pronounce it better than I could. A member of Ukraine's parliament.
Congratulations on installing the new prosecutor general. It's going to be critical for him to work quickly to repair the damage Shokin did. And I'm a man of my word. And that now that the new prosecutor general's in place, we're ready to move forward in signing that new $1 billion loan guarantee.
While Biden has argued that he was the only interested in combating corruption in the country, Giuliani has claimed Biden pushed for the prosecutor general's ouster in order to help, who is serving on the board of Ukrainian gas company under investigation. Yes. The Biden campaign maintains that the clips are consistent with what Biden has said in the past U.S. policy. So that comes from the New York Post. They actually did a pretty darn good job putting that video together, so we got to give them a pat on the back there. But again, Joe Biden, quid pro quo, gets a guy fired that had no corruption. You heard it on tape. The ex-president says, yeah, we'll get rid of him for you. So now they get rid of him. Joe Biden goes along with the $1 billion deal here, and nothing gets looked under the hood. Which brings us to even more tapes that were ousted in this 1023 form that we got our hands on. This one comes from Dan Bongino's show here, and it kind of exposes it all. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Want Trump to get in the position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the detail.
In other words, Biden does not want Ukraine asking for more money from Trump. Doing so would cause Trump to look into the details.
So anything you can do to push the Privat Bank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security.
Critically important for economic and physical well-being. Biden goes mafia?
Folks, what more proof do you need? If you have Democrats, libs, progressive left friends, what more proof do you need? You just heard the guy on tape. You've had the quid pro quo for years. Now you even got undercover recordings from like cell phones and stuff like that. Recording Vice President of the time, Joe Biden, doing a quid pro quo, firing a guy that was looking at alleged bribery from Joe Biden and money laundering, as well as these allegations to U.S. policy and diplomacy being morphed and translated by Joe Biden to Hunter Biden to Burisma Holdings to working with U.S. markets. Like, what more do you need to see? This is more than you have on Trump. And they won't admit that the guy did something wrong. At least admit that the guy did something wrong. I admit that Trump did something wrong and shouldn't have done it. They're not willing to do anything. It's amazing. You can show them whatever you want. There's actual freaking proof here. And they'll say, oh, well, you know, it's fine. Not a big deal. So there's the story of everything that took place. From 2010 to 2014 to 15 to 16, a little bit of 18 and 19 right there when Trump got in office. Trump was going to give Ukraine money, and with that money was probably going to be that more investigations taking place. That was not a quid pro quo, by the way, under Trump. And that was kind of the phone call with Zelensky and everything taking place later, and that's why everyone was getting it all fuss and foo-foo and wanted Trump out, because what was going to be looked under the hood with that phone call? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the Bidens. It's amazing when you look at the Clintons and the Bidens. People should start disappearing. People start going away, which, by the way, I'm now suicidal. Okay, if I disappear for some odd reason, I'm a small YouTube channel, but if I disappear, folks, I didn't do crap. Okay, I didn't kill myself. I didn't off myself. I'm the happiest I could freaking be. I love life. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in suicide. I don't believe in any of that. I'm not off myself, so I can't be any clearer. People think I'm joking, by the way. I'm not joking, okay? I'm never going to do that. I can promise you right now, hand to God, I'm never going to do that. It's just somehow happens when you talk about this stuff, people just disappear. Okay? That's just, there's a lot of people that wanted to come forward with this that just aren't around no more. It's amazing how that works out. So you have Jackie Heinrich of Fox News just yesterday pressing Karine Jean-Pierre on this question. of, hey, what's going on with this 1023 form and such. Listen to what she says Joe Biden's remarks are to all this.
On a different subject, Senator Chuck Grassley made some statements yesterday on the Senate floor saying that this foreign national on the FBI 1023 form apparently has 15 recorded conversations with Hunter Biden and claims to have 2 with the president. Is the White House aware of any recordings in which the president might be on tape speaking to a Burisma executive?
So the president spoke to this. I think he was shouted a question about this at the Thursday press conference, and I'm just going to quote him and say it's malarkey. Okay.
And moving on real quick, Joe Biden and the mouthpiece of the leader of the free world, okay, Karine Jean-Pierre, oh, it's malarkey. Folks, I just looked at my phone. That's why I was looking down. Malarkey means nonsense. Oh, it's not real. Oh, none of this. It's amazing how all this is nonsense with everything I just showed you. Everything I just showed you. That was his response. It's nonsense. But Donald Trump's corrupt, right? Donald Trump's an orange big man, bad man. Okay, I'm not Monkey Trump when I do a Trump impression, but Trump impression is funny to me. It's fun, but if you look at Donald Trump, it's a bunch of hocus pocus Russian collusion, folks. They go through Melania's underwear drawer. They sniff her panties. They look through it just like Joe Biden sniffs girls. Okay, they're looking through her underwear drawer for confidential information, but they don't look at Burisma. It was Russian disinformation, folks. The Russian witch hunt. It's baffling to me, and people go along with it. People are like, oh, yeah, no, this is great. Joe Biden's right. Just salivating at the mouth, right? Watching Karine Jean-Pierre lie to everybody each and every day and each and every week. So what happens here is you have Josh Hawley talking about this 1023 form with the FBI, and it's this one's going to get you going. If you already didn't have your blood going before, you're really going to now because Hawley really lets into him. And then we have Ted Cruz at the very end also going after them. Watch how corrupt this bureau has gotten. They need to be done. Hey, keep all the good guys, get rid of all the bad and the corrupted guys, and start a new bureau because this is ridiculous. Let's roll it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Abadi, let me just stay with you. You just started to answer Senator Blackburn's question that not releasing the 1023 or talking about it as a matter of life and death. Question of life and death, you said. Explain.
It is potentially a question of life and death
for whom?
With regard to the source of the information.
So now we've confirmed that the document exists. That's progress because the FBI director initially denied that it exists. Why did he do that?
We have already and previously acknowledged the existence of the documents.
Yeah, after you first denied it. Now, when a member of this committee read it, right, the FBI director, let's just get the record straight. The FBI director initially said it doesn't exist. Then Senator Grassley said, I've read it. Then he said, oh, okay, well, gotcha. I guess it does exist.
Amazing.
Now you're going back and forth with members of this committee what's in it. Why don't you just release it? Is it classified?
By the way, it's unclassified. And if they're so worried, which we covered here, the FBI is freaking out about this informant. They're scared that he's just going to be offed, which is amazing. Again, going back to Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, just people disappear when you start talking about them and you start uncovering what they've done. It's just amazing how, again, you never hear from them again. You could just redact the name. You could redact the guy's name and any relevant information that's going to lead to somebody finding him. Why can't they do that? I don't know. Let's see if we find out.
Classified?
The document is not classified.
Okay. Will you commit to releasing it?
Senator, we'll take that back and we will work with you and this committee.
How about just a yes or no? Will you commit to releasing this unclassified document that alleges that the President of the United States has taken $5 million or more in bribes from a foreign nation?
The document has already been released pursuant to a subpoena to the House Oversight Committee.
Has it been released to this committee?
We'll work with this committee within the parameters that are established to meet the request.
Will you release the document to the public? It's unclassified. Don't you think the American people have a right to see it?
Senator, the document, as you know, contains sensitive information that has bearing on the life of the source of the information, potentially.
You can redact the source's name. We do this all the time.
Thank you.
In some instances, Senator, and I know you know this, that is not sufficient to protect people. And that's what we strive and work to do each and every day. And I hope you would take that seriously, too.
The only person you're striving and protecting is Joe Biden. You've had this 1023 form since June of 2020, 3 years ago. We've had information with the quid pro quo going back almost a decade, and you've done nothing. You've done nothing. We just gave you all the evidence. What more do you I'm trying not to cuss, but what more do you need to see? For the love of God, not you guys, not the Republicans, conservatives, independents, you freaking libs. What more do you need to see that this dude is corrupt? Like, even the FBI is corrupt. Oh, it doesn't exist. You lied to us, you scumbags. You lied to us that there was no document. Are you kidding me? And then you're lying to the dude's face. He's like, I have it right here, you idiot. I have it right here. You're as dumb as Hunter is. I have it right here. Oh, crap. Yeah. And now you got caught with your pants down, and now you still won't work with them. Oh, we're willing to protect the people. No, you're not. You're willing to protect freaking those that are corrupt, and you're corrupt yourself.
I take it very seriously. But I also take seriously the fact that your institution has repeatedly abused its authority, has repeatedly targeted political opponents. Your institution is the one that went to the door of pro-life protesters with SWAT teams to try and intimidate people because of their speech. Your institution is the one that treated parents as domestic terrorists because of their speech. Your institution is the one that, according to the court, the FISA court, ran 278,000 unwarranted, probably illegal queries on Americans, right?
Mic drop.
That was your institution, correct?
With respect to the compliance incidents, yes, some of the other things you cited, we can take them one by one. They are not.
Compliance, you would characterize the unlawful querying 278,000 times of American citizens as compliance issues?
We've said before, I've said that it's totally unacceptable.
Who's been fired for it?
Individuals involved are handled through the disciplinary process.
Who's been fired for it?
What a bunch of interns got fired for it. Ooh, okay.
In the case of the unintentional instance where something similar happened, we have fired people in the past.
Of similar instance? Did you guys hear that? Well, we had a case that was kind of like it that we fired somebody for, but this one, nope. Actually, they got promoted. They got promoted, you guys.
I'm sorry. What does that word salad mean? The unintentional instance where what does that mean? Who's been fired for the 278,000 times that you improperly or illegally queried the database for American citizens? Anybody?
When we find intentional incidents.
Well, you're saying that the 278,000 queries were unintentional?
I believe that's correct.
Wow. 278,000 times American citizens' information was queried by your agency unintentionally? That's your testimony?
I would want to go back and check that, Senator.
You guys can't make this up. Holy crap.
That's what you just told me.
My understanding is that the vast majority of
Well, wait, that's different. You just said it was. You just said it was unintentional. Now it's the vast majority. Which is it? Do you know?
I would want to go back and check it.
So you don't know?
My understanding is that likely all were unintentional.
Likely all. So first it was all of them, then it was vast majority. Now it's likely all. So you don't know is the answer to the question.
I don't know the answer as we sit here today, but I will find out.
Could have started with that, probably. Who was fired for the lies to the FISA court for the Carter Page warrant? Who was fired for that? Anybody? Has anybody been held accountable for your institution deliberately lying to a FISA court to get a wiretap on an ongoing presidential campaign?
There is an ongoing disciplinary process with respect to individuals involved in that.
Right? How many years has that been? People forgot about that. Oh, well, there's still an ongoing. Like, how long does it take? Really? Come on, man. Oh, just wait till everybody forgets about it. Nobody gets fired.
Here's the deal. You're back in front of us asking for the reauthorization of extraordinary authorities. Multiple courts have uncovered extraordinary abuses perpetrated by your agency. You are at the same time concealing information about serious allegations made against the President of the United States, even as your institution also targets his chief political opponent in an unprecedented way. Why would we ever give you the blank check that you want to continue surveilling American citizens in an improper manner? Why would we ever do that?
What balls, right? Hey, we're going to go after this guy, Donald Trump, that we just found out 5 minutes ago had classified documents, but we've known for a decade about this other dude that's in office right now that we're not going to do anything about. You're going to go after the guy that you knew 5 minutes ago had classified documents, but you've known for years about another guy with a bribery scandal and a quid pro quo, and you ain't going to do jack shit? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. I know some people listen with this stuff with their kids in the car and stuff, but are you kidding me? Really? This is some insane, this is some communist shit, guys. This is some insane stuff. I don't mean to cuss, I apologize, but holy crap. And you have the balls to sit in front of the Senate and ask for money. All the while, they're giving Americans the middle burden. It's corrupt.
Senator, we're here to talk about reforms today. I did get confirmation that the query...
No, we're not. We're here to talk about the reauthorization of Section 702. Why would we reauthorize it, given your track record of abuse and illegal improper surveillance and political targeting? Why would we do that? Why would it be appropriate for this body to do that?
We've made significant reforms and implemented corrective measures. We've seen significant progress as a result of that, Senator. The queries that you mentioned early were, in fact, unintentional. That's what I was just told by my counterpart.
That is an amazing...
The earlier question.
So your testimony is the 280,000 queries of American citizens was unintentional. That's your final answer?
That's how they were assessed by that team that did the review. I'm not satisfied with that. That's why we've implemented further measures, as I announced earlier today.
But they're going to ask for more money, you guys. Hey, but they made progress. No, they made progress. Yeah, by going after political opponents. That's where you made your progress, but you got Joe Biden for decades. Nothing. Classified documents for a decade since he was a senator. Shouldn't have had them. Then when he was vice president, shouldn't have had them. When he wasn't a senator or vice president, shouldn't have had them. Now, you haven't done anything. Then you have him and his son, Hunter Biden, on the board, and Hunter Biden's business partner on the board of Burisma, a natural gas company, being investigated by Victor Shokin. And you have Joe Biden on tape, quid pro quo. We're not going to give you the $1 billion loan unless you fire the guy, which is on tape from the ex-president saying, hey, you did nothing wrong. There's no corruption there of Shokin, but we're going to fire him anyways because we want your $1 billion. They fire the guy for no reason because he was looking under the hood of the Biden family corruption. They fire the guy. They get the $1 billion. No investigation on the quid pro quo. Then you get the Hunter Biden laptop, which we were told was Russian disinformation, Russian misinformation. Turns out it was real. Okay, with all the information of the big guy receiving money, all this money laundering, which was the original prosecution, or it's a prosecutor of Shokin looking under the hood for all of that, of the money laundering, of U.S. policy decision-making from Joe Biden because he was the father of Hunter Biden, and seeing what natural gas connections are made all around the United States and entering U.S. markets. So again, they fire Shokin. You have this whole ousted of the big guy with the money laundering. Nothing look under the hood. We were told it was make-believe, wasn't real. You get this 1023 form by the freaking director, Christopher Wray of the FBI, saying it wasn't real. Chuck Grassley looking at the guy in the face. I have it right here. Oh, crap, it's real. Then they go along with it. Now the FBI has the balls to sit there and ask for more money. All the while, we made fixes. No, you haven't. Nobody's been fired for any of the things you did before, which was just listed by Josh Hawley. You haven't done anything. And you're telling me it's not corrupt? You're not telling me, who the hell? If somebody stabbed you in the back multiple times and continued to do so, and they looked at you square in the face, hey, can I have some money? No, get the hell away from me. Get away from me. That's what's going on. Well, we also have Ted Cruz exploding, and how could you not? Ted Cruz loses his crap. How could you not? I'm trying to hold it together. A lot of this, it's for entertainment, but hell, I'm still frustrated as crap, just as all of you are. If you're not enjoying this episode, I don't know what you're doing. If you are enjoying it, hit that like and subscribe button because, hell, we're exposing the Biden family here. If you haven't seen the entire episode, folks, you got to see the entire episode of us starting from 2010 to current day on exposing the Biden family corruption.
Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, every day when I'm home in Texas, I hear from Texans who are deeply dismayed about the growing politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. If you are not, every one of you should be deeply concerned about the damage being done to the integrity of the institutions in which you operate. My office hears regularly from FBI agents and from assistant U.S. attorneys who are likewise concerned about the politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI, and this is profoundly damaging to the rule of law in our nation.
Damn right.
Last month, a whistleblower brought to light the existence in the FBI of a report, an FD 1023, in which the informant alleges that President Biden and his family members engaged in a $5 million bribery scheme during his time as vice president. Deputy Director Abadi, is it true that the FBI has a report making those allegations?
I'm not going to comment on that, Senator.
And why is that?
I'm just not going to comment on information we received, investigations.
Do you owe an obligation to the American people to be candid about evidence of corruption by the President of the United States?
This is an area that I'm not going to get into with you, Senator.
Well, I understand you don't want to, and that's why people are mad at the FBI, because you're stonewalling and covering up serious allegations of evidence of corruption from the president. Yesterday, Senator Chuck Grassley stood on the Senate floor and alleged that there are 17 recordings of this informant.
If you haven't seen the entire episode, we go over some of those recordings, folks. If you haven't seen the entire episode, hop over there right now, or when you're done with this video, check out those recordings, because goddamn, we exposed Joe Biden. Forgive me, Lord. Forgive me, but damn, we exposed Joe Biden.
From Burisma, Ukrainian natural gas company. 15 of them are recordings, voice recordings of him talking to Hunter Biden. 2 of them are voice recordings of him talking to Joe Biden. Deputy Director Abate, does the FBI have 17 voice recordings laying out evidence of a bribery scheme?
Senator, I would add also that we've worked with the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah, this is the Senate. We're the other side of the Capitol. This is the Senate. Do you have those 17 recordings?
I'm not going to comment on any investigative matters, Senator.
See, that's the problem. The FBI, and I've had this conversation with Chris Wray too, this is why you are damaging the institution. The American people have a right to know whether there is serious, credible evidence that the President of the United States took a $5 million bribe. And by the way, if it's false, Chairman Durbin just rolled his eyes.
Democrats don't care. See, it's a joke to them. All this is a joke. I don't need to keep going further. I'm going to lose it.
If Chairman Durbin were interested in the rule of law, we would have a hearing on these allegations. But of course, the Democrats don't want a hearing on these allegations. And to be clear, if the allegations are false, you know who could disprove them?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Ah!
He could call for this to be released publicly. But the FBI...
But Joe Biden says it's malarkey, folks. Joe Biden's the mouthpiece of the leader of free world. Karine Jean-Pierre quoted Joe Biden. This is all malarkey. It's all foo-foo. It's nonsense, according to Joe Biden.
The FBI is stonewalling. Would you agree?
2 things, Senator. No one's stonewalling. The 1023
you just said you refused to answer the question.
In response to a subpoena.
Okay, then why did you refuse to answer my question?
The pertinent information is there, and I reject your assertion that the FBI is politicized.
Why did you refuse to answer my question?
I just answered your question.
Okay, so yes, you have a 1023. Do you have the 17 recordings, yes or no?
I'm not going to get further into that.
So Senator. You're stonewalling. You can't say I'm not refusing to answer your question, but I won't answer your question.
I'm going to answer within the parameters that we operate in. Here.
That's the problem. The FBI has right now an unlimited hubris that you believe you are unaccountable. You don't believe you're accountable to the United States Congress, and you don't believe you're accountable to the American people. And you are doing damage. The FBI is a great institution. When I go home to Texas, people ask me, should we abolish the FBI? Now, I tell them no, because you have heroes and patriots working for you that are catching child predators, that are catching terrorists. But you're sitting there happily erecting a wall to protect Joe Biden. Will you provide to this committee, not the House, the Senate Judiciary Committee, will you provide the FD 1023 and will you provide the 17 recordings so we can assess what is the evidence, the specific credible evidence that Joe Biden personally took a $5 million bribe from a foreign national?
Senator, we will work with this committee, you and other members, to provide the information within the parameters of the process.
Will you provide the FD 1023, yes or no?
I will take that back and we will work with our team.
So you're not answering that. Will you provide the 17 recordings?
We will take that back and we'll work with you.
So you're not answering that either. Did you investigate in any way, shape, or form these allegations?
Senator, once again, I'm not going to comment.
So you're not going to say whether you did your job?
We do our job to the very best of our ability.
Well, not here. You're not answering a single question to the American people. And you may think this is esoteric. I promise you, millions of Americans are concerned. You know who isn't concerned? Not a single Senate Democrat. We're going to go through this whole hearing. Not one Democrat will ask a question about this. You know who else isn't concerned? The corporate media, who is joining with the Democrats in covering up this evidence. If Joe Biden is innocent, The evidence should be made public and demonstrate that he's innocent. But if he is not, is it true this informant who alleged that he personally took a bribe was an informant the FBI had relied upon previously in other investigations? Yes or no?
He was.
Senator, in each and every investigation that we have, all the work that we do,
I asked you
the
a yes or no
expectation
question.
is that every logical avenue of investigation be pursued.
I asked you a yes or
fullest.
no question. Are you going to answer it?
Yeah, I'm answering your question.
Was the informant one you had relied on previously in other investigations? Yes or no?
Senator, we run down every piece of information. Every
You're not
lead,
answering it then. You're refusing to answer it. So you're refusing to answer the question.
to the fullest extent possible.
You're refusing to answer the question. Is that correct?
In all instances.
Hey, but you know they're not corrupt, you guys. Hey, they're not. The FBI is not political. They can't answer a simple question, yes or no question. That is stonewalling. Well, I'm not stonewalling. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you lied. You've lied many times. You've done things you shouldn't have. It's amazing. From start to finish, we've exposed everything. We've exposed them. And Democrats don't care. Ted Cruz proved it. Democrats don't care. Where's the media? Where's the journalists at on this? I'm a guy in my room. This should be all over the airwaves. Share this with your friends and family. For the love of God, folks, get this stuff out there. Get all of this out there, please. If you want to support the show, I don't need money. I just need you to share this with your friends and family. Tell them, watch this and share it with others. The entire story, the entire episode, sit down and just give it a try. Especially your Democrat and Libs friends. They need to hear this. Because for the love of, you're telling me, really, that Joe Biden's not corrupt on everything that was just presented? You heard the guy on tape. You heard the guy say it. What more do you need? And they're going to go after freaking Joe Biden for having a napkin with some classified information on it? Really? Oh, it's damning, right? Barr. Attorney General Barr, it's damning, this is really bad. Yeah, it's bad. I get it. But so was Joe Biden. So was Hillary Clinton. So was Bill Clinton. Nobody went after any of them for what they did with classified documents. No. We're going after Donald Trump. Twice, by the way. With like 37 accounts just on freaking the Miami one with Jack Smith. Nothing under Joe Biden. Then we're going to answer questions. They'll lie about it. They'll continue to lie about it. Nobody got fired for all the prior stuff they did. You just saw it in real time with Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz. They're asking for more money. Democrats don't give 2 iotas. The media doesn't give 2 iotas. What is going on here? Who are these elites? I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory. Why is nobody looking under the hood on Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton? What the hell is going on? Look under the hood. Oh, you went with Donald Trump. I agree. Look under the hood. I don't care. Equal justice. She's wearing a damn blindfold. Where's the blindfold? Who the hell took it? And when was it taken is the question. And put it back on, for the love of God, because you're going to have this country being destroyed from the inside out, which is, I'm going to plug my book right now. Damn right, I want to plug my book. Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. If you thought this episode was good, the book's even better, folks. It doesn't just go after Joe Biden. It goes after Barack Obama. It goes after the Democrats, the progressive left, on how they're destroying this great nation from the inside out. Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. You can get on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. Go to baldbrad.com. Buy our merch, our mugs, our shirts, the book, a signed copy. A little bit pricey, folks, but you are supporting. You know where your money's going. A true American patriot. Hit that like and subscribe button. The question of the day is, you think the FBI is covering for the Biden family? I think we know the results and the answer, but hell, leave us a comment nonetheless. It does support the show. Hit that join tab if you feel like I deserved it. Would love for you to join us. It's $4.99 a month or $9.99 a month. You are supporting, again, a true American patriot. It all goes back into the show to make it bigger and more prosperous. Share this with your friends and family. And folks, I'll see you tomorrow here